And on the local level, I think that there's more trust with the local journalists because we're the ones who are out there reporting on what's happening in our community. And so we're talking to our local experts. We're talking to, like here in Murray, Dr. Hughes, who's also our chief medical officer here at Murray State. He actually has a Facebook page he's been running, the Callaway County Coronavirus, where he is sharing information with the public as a way to educate and hopefully encourage people about getting vaccinated. Of course, if you read the comments on that, of course, there's often, people are like, I'm not going to get vaccinated. I don't believe this, etc. So he kind of went straight to the people, but he's also been willing to do interviews with the Murray Ledger and Times and the Murray State News about the need for everything going on, everything from when we first got the vaccines to the boosters. And I mean, he's been a fantastic local source of knowledgeable information rather than, a reporter interviewing somebody's grandma's second cousin's roommate's best friend who got it off Facebook.
Yeah, and that's a key with local journalism, Mike, though, the trust that's there. And in my opinion, really should be there because, like this you're talking about here, they're interviewing somebody from their community who has a stake in how things happen. Like, I'm not knocking Dr. Fauci here, but it certainly means a lot more when I hear a doctor who I know and I've had experience with, and I know I can trust this guy beyond just his credentials, telling me, hey, this is safe, it's effective, this is what you really, really need to do. It's going to carry a bit more weight with me than Anthony Fauci. If I knew him personally, it might be different. But I think that's the key with community journalism, and again, with everything. Why I always tell people who's most trustworthy, who's most reliable. It's your community journalists. They're the ones who have a stake in how things go in your community.
Exactly. And then sometimes, especially when you're talking about Fauci, some of those interviews, you would see like a clip on one channel that said one thing, and then the clip was different on another cable channel. And I think that also contributed to a lot of the misinformation. People were like, so what's going on? And the other thing with this, and it's just like anything, any type of news and breaking news, the information changes. You and I have both been reporters. We know that especially in a breaking news situation, it's going to take some time to kind of sort it all out. And the one thing with our news cycle now, it's so, fast, 24/7. It's now social media. It's just constant news cycle that it's hard to take the time to verify the information. And sometimes that story is changing. And I think that's also what's led into a lot of the misinformation and the mistrust. I think a lot of people no longer trust media at all. And that's one thing I've been trying to work on in my classes, is trying to teach my students how to build trust with their audience, because they're the next ones going out to be these community reporters. They're not starting at CNN and ESPN and big major outlets. They're starting at somewhere like the Murray Ledger or the Mayfield Messenger, or, a small TV station or a small radio station. They're starting small. They're starting in a community, and many of them will end up staying in their communities like we did.
Yeah. And you talk about social media mistrust. I think social media has hurt news in a lot of ways, simply because of the way it's just, like you said, it's simply true that with the news cycle, information doesn't come out in one big dump. A lot of times it trickles out. And in the past, when you had time in between newspapers or in between broadcasts, you had time for things to trickle, sort them out, maybe not perfectly, but you had a bit more time. Whereas now it's like you're expected, I think, with Twitter, Facebook, everything out there, get it up there, get it out. Otherwise, somebody else is going to post it. Well, then the story naturally changes. And it's not that anybody was dishonest the first time. It's just they didn't have all the information. And then people look back at that one's like, well, you lied to us. It's like, well, no, they just didn't have all the details. And I don't have a solution for that. It's something that they haven't been able, it's hurt. That I guess that's really all I'm trying to say there.